Welcome back, aviation students, pilots in training, and all you Bombardier Q400 enthusiasts out there. We are jumping right into another explainer today, and our mission is simple, but man, is it absolutely crucial. We're going to effortlessly master one of the most important cockpit procedures you'll ever face. Yep, we're talking about the exact sequence for the Bombardier Q400 engine fire detection test. If you've been, just staring at your manuals trying to force these steps into your brain, take a breath. Relax, because by the end of this explainer, you're going to have a mental map of this procedure that you literally cannot forget. To make this all stick, we've broken the test down into 5 key steps. 1. The initiation. 2. Visuals, the FFFME sequence. 3. Audio, the warning tone. 4. Step 8. The reset. And finally, 5. Memorize with 1511. Let's get to it.
Starting off with Section 1, the initiation, which is all about tactile input.
All right, mentally place yourself right there in the left seat of the Q400 cockpit. Your fingers are resting on the panel, ready to go. Now, the very first action you're taking is a deliberate tactile input. You don't just lazily flick the switches here. The procedure requires you to physically hold the Engine 1 fire test detection switch for a minimum of 1 second. And hey, it's not a simultaneous action for both engines either. The manual specifically dictates that you hold them alternately. So you hold the Engine 1 position for that minimum of 1 full second, and then you hold the Engine 2 position for a minimum of 1 second. That deliberate 1 second hold, that's exactly what tells the aircraft systems, hey, this is a commanded test.
Moving right along to Section 2, visuals, the FFFME sequence.
Once you've held those switches, the cockpit panel immediately responds with a whole cascade of visuals. To make sure you never miss a light, we use this awesome memory trick. Here are the exact 5 specific visual checks you've got to verify in sequence. First up, F for the pull fuel/hide off-handle light. Next, another F for the Fault A and Fault B advisory lights. Your third F stands for the check fire det warning light. Moving on to the M, we look for the master warning light. And finally, the E stands for the engine fire lights. So that's fuel, fault, fire dent, master, engine, FFFME. You know aviation loves a good acronym, right? Well, mastering this one means you've completely nailed the visual check.
Now, this next part is super cool because it really shows off the genius of modern cockpit design. Not all of these lights behave in the exact same way during the test. There's this very deliberate shift in visual intensity that you absolutely need to be aware of. Basically, you're looking for a transition from steady illumination to intense flashing. What's really interesting here is the clear distinction in how these indicators actually behave. The first 3 indicators of our FFFME sequence, the fuel/hydraulic off-handle, fault A and B, and check fire det, well, they merely illuminate. They turn on with a nice steady, solid glow. But the final 2 indicators, the master warning and engine fire lights, oh, they don't just illuminate, they flash. It's a sudden, high-intensity flashing specifically designed to completely grab your visual attention. It's like steady, 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 and then boom, flash, flash. So think about it. Your hands have initiated the test. Your eyes are tracking those steady lights, and now the master warning and engine fire lights are just rapidly flashing all over the cockpit. I want you to really picture that intense visual environment right now. What happens next? Like, what is the missing sensory cue that immediately joins these flashing lights?
That brings us to Section 3, audio, the warning tone.
So right alongside the visual chaos of those flashing lights, your ears are suddenly hit. The fire warning tone blasts loudly right through the cockpit, and that completes the sensory alert cascade. Think about what just happened. You initiated with touch, you verified the 5 specific lights with your sight, and now you're verifying that the audio alert system is fully functional. It is an overwhelming combination of flashing visuals and blasting audio, deliberately designed so that if this were a real fire, there is absolutely 0 chance you could ever miss it.
Which leads us perfectly into Section 4, Step 8, the reset.
All right, you've confirmed the system works, the alarms are blazing, and now? Well, you've got to silence the test and return the cockpit to normal. To resolve this intense state of flashing master warning and engine fire lights paired with that crazy loud fire tone, you must take one specific action. You physically press the engine fire light. When you push it, you verify that 2 things happened simultaneously. The light stopped flashing and the tone is completely silenced. Your tactile intervention puts an end to all the alarms. It's the ultimate reset.
Finally, we arrive at Section 5, memorize with 1511.
So, the crucial point here is, how do we guarantee you actually remember this entire sequence perfectly when the pressure is really on in the simulator for your Q400 type rating? Simple. We're going to compress everything into the ultimate mental cheat sheet. I want you to take a mental snapshot of this 1-5-1-1 matrix right now. It maps exactly to the sensory framework we just went through. That first 1 represents your single tactile initiation, holding the switch alternately for a minimum of 1 second. The 5 represents your visual checks, our FFFME sequence. The next 1 is your audio check, verifying that blasting tone. And the final 1 is your single reset action, physically pressing the light. So it's 1-5-1-1. Hold, look, listen, press. If you remember this matrix, you've got the entire Bombardier Q400 engine fire detection test completely locked down. So, here is my absolute challenge to you today. Right now, wherever you are, can you close your eyes and recite the FFFME sequence perfectly? Let's try it. Fuel, fault, fire det, master, engine. Test that mental map right now. But before we wrap up, just ask yourself this. If the Q400 systems are this brilliantly and intensely designed just to test a fire, can you even imagine the massive engineering behind actually putting one out? Wow, that is a whole other system for another day. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep drilling those flows, stay sharp, and I'll catch you in the next one.